In the last video, we talked about what lucid dreaming actually is, what happens during lucid dreaming, and where it fits into the big picture of sleep. I hope that in the meantime, you have actually gained the ability to remember your dreams and have documented at least 14 dreams in a dream journal. If you haven't, I really do think you should do so. So save this video for later and come back when you're ready, because now we're getting serious. Today, I'm going to show you 3 techniques to induce lucid dreaming. And because there's a lot of controversy around which ones are the most effective, I just chose 3 techniques that work best for me. Let me ask you a question. Are you dreaming right now? Seriously, think about it. Examine your surroundings. Is there anything unusual? Don't worry, I'm not trying to bend your mind. But honestly, how often do you ask yourself if you're dreaming? Probably never. And that's exactly why this question never comes up during a dream. You might already be able to guess what I'm trying to say here. If you make it a habit to constantly ask yourself if you're dreaming, if this is reality that you're experiencing, you will increase the likelihood of this question coming up during your dream. This means that you have to question reality several times a day, which can turn out to be quite exhausting. This is the reason why many oneironauts, people who explore their dreams recreationally and mostly scientifically too, claim that this method, called the critical state testing technique, is one of the hardest, if not the hardest method to induce lucid dreams. However, this technique was the first one I used to ever induce lucid dreams, and it turned out to be quite successful, since after just 3 days of kickstarting this habit, I had my first lucid dream. This method is especially effective if you already realized what dream signs you have. Dream signs are objects, actions, locations, and thoughts that commonly occur in probably every of your dreams. Everyone has personal dream signs, and the best way to identify your own dream signs is to use your lucid dream journal, or just your normal dream journal, and to look and search for consistent entries, consistent things that happen all the time. One of my dream signs, which is kind of weird, is that something always fell from the sky. It could have been a person, could have been an object, but something was always falling from the sky. Now, if you already know your dream signs, this method is, in my opinion, the most effective method to induce lucid dreaming in as little time as possible. And since this technique can give you the fastest results, you should really give it a try. I mean, there's no harm in it, right? Furthermore, while reading Exploring the World of Lucid Dreaming by Dr. Stephen LaBerge, I learned that the German psychologist Paul Thorley has combined the critical state testing technique with the principle of autosuggestion. I'll put a link about autosuggestion into the description because I think that's too big of a topic for me to talk about it right now. But in his book, Stephen describes his reflection intention technique as consisting of 4 steps. And here's how I interpret them. The first one is to plan ahead and decide when you want to ask yourself the question, is this just a dream? The second one is to actually ask yourself if you are dreaming or not, just as I described in the critical state testing technique. After you are absolutely sure you're not dreaming, we can progress to the third step. Now you actually have to imagine that you're dreaming. Look at everything around you and imagine as vividly as possible that it's just part of a dream. If you already identified your personal dream signs, you can look for them too. And in the fourth and final step, you have to imagine, think about what you want your next dream to be about. Anything is really possible. Sky's the limit. Actually, it isn't. And on top of it all, just tell yourself that the next time you go to bed, you will realize that you're just dreaming. In my experience, this technique worked quite sporadically, at best. At times, it worked just fine, and I actually dreamt about what I wanted to dream about, but at other times I didn't induce any lucid dreams at all. So I recommend you to try this one after you already successfully accomplished the critical state testing technique. The next and last technique I'm about to introduce has been conceived by no one less than Professor Dr. Stephen LaBerge himself. Again, it may not be the most suitable technique for beginners, but if you're experienced, it is the most effective one. Dr. LaBerge has reported to have had up to 26 lucid dreams in a single month using this technique. In his book, Exploring the World of Lucid Dreaming, he calls this technique the MILD technique. MILD stands for Mnemonic Induction of Lucid Dreams. The focus here is on mnemonic, and as spiritual as it may sound, all you need for this technique, and really for any other technique, is willpower. If you really want to have lucid dreams, and if you really want to remember your dreams, it will just happen. It may not happen tomorrow, but it will happen one day. But to your luck, Dr. LaBerge has streamlined this process into 5 easy to follow steps. The first one, set up dream recall. As you're laying in bed, just focus on your intent to remember when you're dreaming. That's all you have to do. Every night, of course. As you're laying in bed, just remember that your focus is to remember when you're dreaming. Apart from that, you can put a little thought into if you want to wake up right after a REM sleep phase, or you just want to try to remember your dreams right after you wake up in the morning at 6 or 7 a.m. But how do you know when your REM sleep phases are? Well, if you've been monitoring your sleep, like me, with an app since the last video I brought out, you might have an idea of when your REM sleep phases are. But you don't have to, of course. This is just for the real hardcore professionals, or those that really want to have as many lucid dreams in a single night as possible. 2. As soon as you wake up, try to remember as much of your dream as possible. And before you go to sleep because you're too tired, just stand up and walk around in your room, as long as you're trying as hard as possible to remember every single detail of your dream. 3. As soon as you're going to bed again, focus on your intent that you want to remember that you're dreaming while you're dreaming. 4. See yourself become lucid. At the same time as you're trying to fall asleep and focus on your intent to remember while you're dreaming that you're dreaming, try to remember your last dream you just had that same night. Try to see if you remember any dream signs, or if you remember becoming lucid in that dream. This will help you, or your brain to be more exact, to focus on your dreams during your dream. And the 5th step is simply, as soon as you got the hang of it, repeat these steps as often as you want. Sky's the limit, really. Now, there are actually many more techniques to induce lucid dreaming, one of them even dating back 2,000 years ago, but since I've had no experience with them whatsoever, and they are quite obscure to be honest, I'm not going to show them to you in this video. So that's it for now. I've shown you the 3, in my opinion, most successful ways to induce lucid dreaming. Now it's up to you to utilize them. I promise that these techniques will turn out to be successful if you stick to them. What you need the most right now is consistency and willpower. Tune in for my next video about lucid dreaming, where I'll further illuminate the use of supplements to induce lucid dreams. Until then, sweet dreams.